reading this whole chapter on temperance and tobacco. And of course, it's not just temperance, and it's not just about tobacco, it's
Right.
much more. Uh, I found myself so much in a way that my old way of thinking would be, oh, I'm a Christian if I avoid A, B, C, D, E.
Right.
I'm a good Christian, so I won't be dancing, I won't be smoking, I won't be drinking, I won't be this, I won't be this. But what if some of these things are not bad in itself? And what if what if you're at the wedding or in a party, not crazy party,
Right.
and these things bring, like you mentioned in your book, fellowship. They bring people to open more, to cheer up. What if that's part of the things that God have given us as blessing to take in moderation, opposed to, then you mentioned Sauron, who never laughs, who never enjoys these
Right.
simple things of the Bible. I mean, of the world of life. And then in the Old Testament, God never opposes these things. They say, enjoy these things. Of course, again, have moderation, don't sin. But God has given us these things to enjoy. And I just want to read this. It may indeed, it should seem strange to many Christian readers, especially non smoking, teetotaling evangelicals like myself, that the bad guy would be the one who refuses to smoke or dance. But Lewis, like Tolkien, understood that the ability and willingness to accept and take joy in appropriate pleasures is a virtue. If I may speak more personally for a moment, what Tolkien and Lewis have taught me, someone who does not even drink coffee because he refuses to be, quote unquote, controlled by caffeine, is that the true distinguishing mark between a good and a bad use of alcohol or tobacco is whether the use of it increases or destroys love, joy, and peace. Drunk in moderation at a wedding or smoked moderately by a circle of friends, wine and tobacco can enhance fellowship, inspire gratitude, and draw shy people out of themselves. Drunk or smoked in excess or in isolation for the purpose of dulling pain, inducing stupor, I think that's how it's pronounced,
Right.
or separating oneself from one's responsibilities, they become tools of the enemy for devouring our personhood and robbing us of our God given potential. We have missed so much on adding so many commandments. They're not in the Bible or have taken them out of
Yeah.
context. Uh, I have done these things in the past. People have done, some of my friends too, thinking that just because I stay from movies, I stay away from secular
Mhm.
music, I'm so much holy, I'm so much consecrated, I'm so much separated from the world. And behold, how low, I mean, not low, but behold, almost in arrogance, look at my humility, if that even
Right.
makes
Yeah.
sense. So sometimes we think that we have to stay away from gazillion things so that God can love us, bless us, and uses us so we can approach people so that, like, look at our aura. It's so glowing because we're so holy. But no, we have important all these things. Don't read Harry Potter. Don't dance. Don't take a sip of wine. Exchange in Eucharist wine for
Oh,
the
grape
grape
juice.
juice. Like invent all these gazillion other things because you're supposed to be holy. And I understand there's so many wise decisions and counseling, getting counsel from elderly people, and there's so much good stuff to follow. But that's different than living according to those commandments of men as they're in the Bible, and that bothers me a lot.
It does. And, I try to teach my students that, look, if you want a measure, a way to determine whether or not you're making a proper use of alcohol, if the alcohol is truly enhancing fellowship, like at a wedding, or maybe down south, they may go to a bar, have beer, and do their two stepping and stuff like that. If the drinking is enhancing your fellowship and drawing you closer, you're probably making a good use of it. But if that same alcohol is isolating you, so you're in the bar drinking yourself into inanition, into stupor, then no, it's actually taking away your humanity. It's actually cutting yourself off from your family. Does it enhance life or does it destroy life? I'm convinced that Satan is a teetotaler, right? Satan doesn't want anything like joy. He wants to devour us. And again, the difference is so stark. I mean, a good use of a pipe is the Inklings. Lewis and Tolkien had a group. They got together. They read their work out loud. They discussed it. They talked about Christian things, but they talked about other things as well. And out of that beautiful fellowship We got some of the greatest literature of the 20th century, and we helped reclaim the university for Christianity again. The very Christians that invented the university, it was stolen from us by the secular people, the atheists and whatnot. And we're still fighting to get it back. But thank God we have Lewis and Tolkien and the other Inklings, Owen Barfield, Charles Williams, these incredible men who helped revive fantasy as an adult thing, as something not just for children, but for all ages and whatnot. But again, we have to ask ourselves that question. I want to live life to the full. I want to be drawn closer to people, not away from them. I want fellowship, not isolation, alone, alone. I mean, look, there is a point. You know you're becoming an alcoholic when the drinking is no longer enhancing joy, but taking away pain. All right, that's when you can see that something's becoming an addiction. But let's remember that it's not just wine and tobacco that's addictive. Greed, anger, resentment, bitterness, pride, all of these things are even worse, I think, as drugs or narcotics because they give us nothing good, right? There's no enhancing of life. It is tearing us away from people. I believe wokeness is a kind of drug. The belief that you're a victim becomes a drug and it becomes a self-protective thing to protect you from the world, right? Even patriotism, which is a good thing, can become a drug if it sets you apart from everyone. Me against you, me against them. So we need to understand and make a proper use. Virtue is a balance. It's not just about do this, don't do that. It's about the proper balance that keeps us in balance with humanity, with the universe, with the very cosmos God created. It's that kind. It's actually rational. It's not irrational.
Thank you for that. It was actually this chapter that helped me not to be embarrassed of me buying and wearing for tonight's show Guns N' Roses T-shirt. Because I'm like, why should I be embarrassed just because some other Christians will want to judge me? I mean, not every song is worldly. Not every song is about sex or alcohol or drugs or whatever. I listen music from 80s and 90s. They're good. They have good mood, they have a good rhythm, and they talk about, for example, romantics and ballads, and I enjoy those things. So I was like, oh, I was just inspired by this chapter to why denying something that, even though it's maybe I will not pull out a certain scripture from the Bible,
Right.
but it's not inherently evil. We don't have to categorize in our lives everything is white and black, good and evil. We don't have to do that. Sometimes things are just as they are, like water, for example, this bottled
Right.
water, I can use it for different purposes. I can drown it, or I can just drink it and live. So I just want to say I put this shirt
No, it's
not
good,
out.
and you could
Yeah.
maybe tell the difference because Nicola, that would be perfectly. Hey, say to your friends, come up. I want to show you my collection of Guns N' Roses, especially the old days when they were albums, you know. But who says to their friends, "Oh, come, I want to share with you my collection of pornography. I'm very proud of it." You see, I mean, we understand something that's isolating and bad and turning us away from other people and into ourselves, right? I mean, it's a turning away from life and an inward sort. It's a kind of masturbation that turns away from the other and towards the self, and it's not healthy. And nobody's really proud of it. Okay, I mean, so I think that there is a test that we can sometimes use that will help us, and you can also say to yourself, "I'm listening to these music. Would I want my future son or daughter listening to this?" Well, if the answer is yes, then there's probably something good to it, right? There's some actual joy there and not just again, turning away from life.